What's up, fight fans and cannabis activists alike? I'm Adam Crist for MyMMAnews.com, here with another edition of My Marijuana Chronicles, sponsored as always by our good friends at O2 Vape. Check them out at o2vape.com. Use promo code MyMMAnews at checkout to receive 20% off your order. The most innovative vape tech around, hands down. On this edition, we have Ian McCall. Some of you may know him as Uncle Creepy. He's a WEC and UFC legend, the first flyweight to ever headline a UFC event, and he's using his retirement to help focus on helping others in their healing journeys via plant-based medicine. He's going to talk to us about who he talks with to make it work between hospitals and doctors, and some have even dubbed him the Fight Shaman, and we're here to talk about why. First and foremost, Ian, it's a pleasure, and can you tell us, let's just jump straight into it, when did you first get involved with natural, alternative, plant-based medicines?
You know, I've been smoking cannabis since I was 8 years old.
Yeah.
It's never done me wrong, ever. It's never, it's like, it helped heal my daughter from juvenile rheumatoid arthritis. I appreciate cannabis at a level that people just don't understand. And it's been a very important thing in my life. And I continue to use it. I probably smoke too much, but whatever. I smoke probably like 5 or 6 grams a day.
I mean,
no, that's not crazy.
No, depending on the user. I mean, you have some people that'll burn through half a cartridge a day, and an oil being so much more potent than actual flower itself. I mean, different strokes for different folks. But that's one thing. I mean, and we'll just jump straight into it from here. Hell, I already did my pre-recorded intro. So that's one thing that I love about cannabis is, again, different strokes for different folks, and it's one of those drugs or one of those medicines that you need to find out your own dosage. And I think that's one of the things where people, they have that misunderstanding of, oh, well, I'm just going to smoke some weed, get high, and, that's where the stigma has caught up to it, the people that abuse it. But the people that take the time out to invest the time into it, to learn about it, to learn about their own proper dosages, that's when it can be life-altering and life-changing. And you said it was like that for you. I can speak for myself as well. But you starting at 8 and helping your daughter with rheumatoid arthritis, can we just start there?
So I guess we'll go to me as the example. I've been running tests on myself my whole life, running scientific tests on myself and my best friend who's passed away, Shane Rosario. And then I was running tests on my daughter and my friends and my parents, and injecting them. I inject my parents with NAD+, and I've been taking peptides for fucking 5 years. I'm in biohacking big time, but through that age of being sneaky, and I was stealing the weed from my dad. My dad smuggled dope in the 70s. My dad's a rad person. And my brother got me into weed when he was 11. I was 8. Or what the fuck did we know? But I knew that my brother smoked it, and he stole it from my dad. And I was like, oh, the 2 coolest people in the room that I know, they do it. So fuck yeah. And it just, of course I've abused it. I took over 20, I stopped counting at 2,500 milligrams of edibles at a show. I was working with Habit Drinks, and Habit Craft is the best cannabis drinks in the world. And the team over there's like good buddies of mine. I love those dudes, but I was like, fuck it, let's see how high I can get. So of course I was doing cocaine too at the time, so that was silly. But I was like, I'm going to see what the ceiling is for cannabis. And dude, I was smoking dabs all day. You go to those shows, and like, this was a long time ago when I was all fucked up. I don't do party drugs anymore. Mm-hmm. And like, you have these cute girls giving you dabs everywhere you go. People are smoking blunts, and I'm like kind of famous. So people were like, fuck yeah, constantly giving me high. And I just got to this state. I think I was high for a couple of days. I was stoned for a couple of days. Like, it was like not a struggle to drive home, but the drive home, I was just like, fuck, this is like, I want to go lay down. Like, I can function. I'm a performance coach in psychedelics, so like I can perform. I've done yoga to boxing to lifting weights on everything from mushrooms to acid to ketamine. Like, I just, that's what I teach. I try to teach people how to do that. But with cannabis, I've used it. It's my painkiller. I have a lot of pain in my body. I've had 7 surgeries on this arm alone, 2 infections, a fracture, dislocation, 2 breaks. It's not, my hand doesn't work very well. That's why another reason why I don't fight, 'cause my hands are fucked up. It was fucked up when I was fighting. I was beating people up with this thing. It was horrible. But it was kind of funny. You know, and I always used cannabis. I was an advocate for cannabis. I was in the business, obviously. I sold dope my whole life. I grew up in, you know, part of the 1% here in Orange County, realistically, but all these rich kids got to buy drugs somewhere. And again, my dad was okay with it. My Uncle Leroy would come drop off 100 pounds in the garage. My dad couldn't pull his Porsche into the beach house, you know, sort of thing. Or, you know, like fucking, it was pretty funny. And I missed the boat on the business side of it, but I became such a big advocate for it. I own, you know, stock in a few, sweat equity stock in a few things, and then they never panned out, but whatever, it's fine. I love the industry. And when I was fighting, now that I work in healing, I can understand what I did to my daughter. You know, her mother and I were both crazy. Her mother was addicted and was, you know, in and out of jail and rehab, doing crazy shit, stealing cars and fucking being wild. You know, that's why I loved her. She was wild as shit. And I still love her. She's one of my best friends. She's better now and stuff. But yeah. I was no better. I was on TV, and sure, I was like fucking hanging out with celebrities and making a bunch of money, but I was such a douchebag. I was high on drugs and pills and all party drugs. And I was addicted to sex, and I was always cheating on whatever model starlet girlfriend I was with. And like, just being such a douchebag, you know, like I was never physically abusive or like really like mean abusive, but it was just the guy who was like, yeah, I'm sorry, I slept with your sister. You know, like that fucking asshole. And you're like, or you're best for both, your sister and your best friend. You know, it was like that kind of guy. It was like, I was viewed as a toy as well to these women. Yeah. Like I grew up in Hollywood, like there all the time. All my friends are like the coolest people in Hollywood. They're the hairdressers and the club owners and all that stuff. So like, you know, it's just access. And growing up with Chuck Liddell as my mentor was a shit show. It was an orgy and pretty much all times. If we weren't training, there was some sort of partying going on that had just, it was silly. So I got so programmed, you know, and I was acting so crazy. And I just want to say I was no better than my ex-wife, and she was in jail and rehab. Well, and then Shane Del Rosario, my best friend, he partied himself to death in my house. He was helping me raise my daughter. My daughter got so stressed out, she got juvenile rheumatoid arthritis. And back then they're like, no, the flu was leaving her body and it settled in her knee. And I was like, what the fuck? Because I've never been stupid. I'm probably on the spectrum. I've never been diagnosed. I'm pretty sure. I had such learning disabilities in school. The only reason I wasn't put in special classes was because I was really good at sports, you know. But I've learned some shit in my years over staying healthy and performing, and diet is the biggest part. So with my daughter, she got sick, and I was like, okay, the science, the medicine's bullshit. We're taking you off painkillers and methotrexate, which is a chemotherapy drug, and anti-inflammatories. This is a baby. It's a 2-year-old little girl. What did that do to her genetics? You know what I mean? Like, what did I do? Fuck, you know? But so we healed her with foods, diet and exercise, and then cannabis oil. And this was before Dr. Sanjay Gupta came out with this thing. And I remember when it came out on TV, my girlfriend at the time, she looks at me, she's like, what are we going to do for our baby? I was like, number one, not your baby. Number two, like, I'm already doing it. Like, look at her. She's high as shit right now. And, you know, I would get high with my kid because I love my kid. And after I would train my ass off, she'd take an edible, I'd take an edible, and we would just chill. You know, I'd put it in some chocolate or Nutella. She loved Nutella, and I'd give it to her because I knew like a little bit of sugar like that makes her happy, gives her a little, you know, in her brain, and she gets a good drug in her system that makes her sleep and makes the pain go away. And at this point, you know, her mother wasn't really around, and you know, it was rough. I did it with my family. Obviously, I had help. I could not do that myself. And, you know, now that, like, you know, obviously she lives in her mom's house now, you know, like her mom's got a family and a new husband, new kid. And I'm like, yeah, you need to be there to take care of your little sister. Mommy and daddy are crazy. That's where you need to be because you never know where we're fucking going to end up. You know, which we're both fine. We're both, you know, have our shit together. But, you know, you never know. Like, you need to take care of that little kid. But through years of cannabis, high-dose cannabis, so by the time she could really communicate, at 5-6 years old, I remember one time she had hand, foot, mouth, and lice, really bad lice, some super lice. It was like impossible to get rid of. And she just comes up crying. She's like, Daddy, I need the strong stuff. And I gave her, she drank an entire Habit crafted 100 milligram drink. And I was just like, she was just, and I was just like, you're good. We took it like a champ. We just sat there on, watching cartoons, high as shit. And getting a 2-year-old or 5-year-old, whatever it is, high is funny, but it's not that funny. You know what I mean? Like, I know how much pain she's in because my body's riddled with injuries. I have arthritis, so how did I work on my own arthritis? It's the same way I work on hers, the same way I still work on hers, the same way I still work on mine. And now it's with advancements with, I work in venture capital. I build brands in health and wellness and in psychedelics. And it all ties in, man. I mean, getting into not the diet gets real deep now. It's kind of crazy. How far we go, especially with the technologies and psychedelics, the anti-inflammatory effects that will be there that we're proving. Real scientists, not just dudes like me that read a lot. But I'm a voice for these people, and I control a market and money, of investors that are honest and not your regular venture capital people. I keep the scientists and the healers safe because I'm the most dangerous person in the room, number one, and number two, I'm never going to hurt anybody again. I'm so against violence. I like watching violence, but I'm not going to hurt anybody. But I just want these people to know, I don't need your money. I'm not doing this for me. This is for everybody else. I already did my shit. I'm fucking tired. I don't ever have to do anything ever again. But I'm doing this so I can provide a safe space for these. Everyone's damaged in psychedelics, but everyone in the world is damaged. But these people are damaged and cracked open and trying to make a difference about it. And they're fucking vulnerable, and when you have people just trying to take from them and earn from them, and just this gross, venture capital type of world, they don't like that. So I'm the guy at the front of the gate, at the club, what's your name? Let me look on the list. I don't know. I don't know you. Let's go out and party in Vegas. I'm going to be in Vegas this weekend and in Miami right after. I leave tomorrow and I get home Wednesday. So for the 2 biggest psychedelic conferences, the first real 2 ones with venture capital there, and I'll party these people into the dirt, into the ground, and just sit there and just watch them, observe these people. Who are you? Who are you? Who are you when you're letting loose? Because I work with integrity, and I have to, again, that safe space. That safe space goes all the way from them to my friends who are special forces people killing for patriotism, or to my friends who used to work for fucking crime families that were hitmen. I grew up in fighting. There was a lot of gangsters that I know, guys in the Hells Angels, fucking other gang members. And then you have fighters who are really fucked up. So I need to also provide a safe space for them because they deserve it, and they're my people. And that's why I started this whole thing. That's why I was on HBO in the first place, was healing someone like Dean Lister. That's why I'm starting my 501c. It's a nonprofit for taking fighters to go heal with psychedelics, because I want my people to heal around my people. And I'm going to have coaches that I end up, they're going to go through their own certification programs and teaching programs of how to learn to coach your people. And then eventually, once they heal enough, then they can assimilate into larger groups of other people's. I'll mix them with veterans right away. It's fine. I love working with veterans because they're just as fucked up. Dude, I laugh, but man, what those people go through, oh, dude, they're so mistreated. And you think, an athlete or a veteran, you have these people that are put on a pedestal for a reason while they're doing what they're doing. Little kids dressed like you for Halloween and for fucking any reason. They say they're you while they're pretending to do what you do with their friends in their mind, and it's so fucking beautiful. And then you're done. People forget who you are for the most part, unless you really accomplish it like I did. And even then, I can walk in the UFC now for the first time in my life and barely. If someone sees me, they go, "It's you?" Yeah. They go, "Oh, cool, bro, Knuckles." I don't even have to take pictures of people. I'll do it. I'm not against it. I fucking love it. I love the attention. But it's usually a dad who says it. And then he's like, son or daughter, like, you don't understand. This guy's really cool. And the kid's like, I don't know who that is. The video game. And they're like, oh yeah, I was played you on a video game. My dad has. Like, yeah, like it's hilarious to me. And I don't, people think, because I used to have such an ego, and I do have an ego. I just keep it in check with large amounts of psychedelics periodically throughout my life. But, a couple times a year is ayahuasca and mushrooms in high doses. Like I did like 20 grams of mushrooms, or I'll do a couple cups of ayahuasca and go really deep, because that's just what I need. Yeah. And it's in a safe environment with shaman, with like the real indigenous setups in the jungles or in the deserts or whatever. But I don't even know where I was going with this.
I mean, I guess I can really ask. You were just saying with the jungles. Why the jungles? I mean, you put that on your social media on October 30th that your 501c. You're taking donations. You were going to take your fighters, your people, out into the jungle to heal. Now, for some people, I understand the ritualistic aspect of it. I understand the healing, but
I know.
but for some people that might not understand, why venture out to the jungle? They might be like, oh, why can't I do it in my living room? Why can't I do it at this, resort and spa? Why the jungle?
You can. That's the thing. Like my girlfriend, she's an actress, and her career's blowing up, and she's been called to do ayahuasca, and the medicine's already working in her life. It's crazy. She's going through some very hard stuff, losing the most important person in her life to cancer, and she's dealing with it and starting her own 501c to name it after him, because he's the one who pushed her into the arts. But she's doing it here in Orange County in San Clemente at my friend's, beautiful guest home. Like it's just, she has a big house and there's a smaller house. It's Orange County. Everyone's rich. And she's another, just like my girlfriend, she's a Latin woman who was raised that way and has that flavor to her. And, they're both witches, like she makes the microdoses for my clients, and it's not just microdosing, it's vitamins as a whole. But that's one way to do it. And this woman's not a shaman. She's a facilitator. She's a trip sitter. She can help you through it, put on good music. Shamans come from thousands of generations of doing this. Like this goes back deep into these people's genetics, epigenetics. Like they've lived this and they're different. I have a Western shaman that is incredible. Bearheart is incredible. He's the closest thing I've ever seen to an indigenous shaman. He's a Westerner. I had him on HBO. His team is incredible. So I'm not against Western shaman. There's flavors, different flavors for every, ask for every seed. He's the guy I'll sit with as far as Westerners. He's the only one who's earned the right to meet or work with how I feel. But I'm sure there might be other people out there. Perungi, he's another guy who's in Sedona. I'd work with him. But these indigenous people, they shapeshift through the trips. They save you. They do the songs they sing in their native tongue aren't languages people learn. They're not. They're the way they sing it and the way they put you into a space that is unlike some person who's, and I don't mean to poo-poo, but I'm in Hollywood all the time. There's a lot of fake fucking shaman people there. People calling themselves like their name shaman. It's in their name. And I'm like, do you even play an instrument? Like, who are your parents? Like,
I can imagine those are the people that YouTube how to be a shaman and then just run free from there.
And
I'm just
they and I don't want to poo-poo anyone doing this. I mean, some people do use black magic for this for sure.
Yeah.
But I have to give everyone a benefit of a doubt, because look at me, dude. I don't look like a fucking hippie person or woo-woo person. I've got so much woo-woo inside of me. I'm so educated with all of that from religious scholars that I sit with that are friends of mine that wrote the books on how all psychedelics are tied to religion and how religions are all pagan cults. And, just there's that sort of stuff too. Like I'm so well versed in this, the political side of it. Like I'm talking to people on Capitol Hill, like really important people that I can't even talk about. I got basically told, look, we're going to have a conversation. You can't talk about this conversation by my lawyer, my new lawyer that I'm working with, who's helping me set up my 501c.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, it's like that. I was like, oh shit, this is fun. This is going to be so much fun. Fuck yeah. I'm not ever going to get in trouble for anything I say. And it's, you know, because I openly talk about liking drugs, but the drugs I like are good drugs.
Mm-hmm.
You know, even if it's like even if I'm having a bad day and I go home and I want to do something, I'll take like ketamine and lay in my bed in the dark with music on and analyze my day. What the fuck happened? Why am I so thrown off? You know, instead of going to like have a glass of wine, even I love wine. My mom used to work in the wine industry. She was a chef for Robert Mondavi. Like my parents have a huge wine collection, and all their friends do the thing. They're alcoholics. But no, I'll go home and do like that, you know, and just because it's got such a short half life in the body.
Yeah.
Take mushrooms, be up for 6 hours. Yeah, I don't need that. I gotta work tomorrow. But like those are the sort of tools. People have DMT for this, or with DMT pens, and you can do a bunch of stuff. That's just one route of doing this. But it's like, how are we going to turn these little moments of bliss into learning experiences? You know, or sometimes just bliss out. If you need to just get faded and watch a movie, well, go for it, dude. You know, I'm just I hyperanalyze everything. And I've got getting a lot done. You know, like I'm on the verge of doing some stuff, and you know, I've got like coaches and these, you know, executive assistant that I'm stealing from a prominent billionaire in Silicon Valley. She's coming to work for me, and I don't know. I'm fucking kind of broke right now. Like all my money's tied up, and I'm just like fuck. Like, and I have this huge overhead. My new apartment that my company made me get it's a penthouse on PCH in Dana Point. And it's really cool. I like it a lot. It's just really expensive. And I didn't want this. I wanted to be by the beach with my kid in a little tiny house in like the Mexican district, San Clemente, where it's quiet and I can just chill. But like my company made me get this place for my podcast studios and then another bedroom. And I lost my job because their IPO didn't go through. So I'm just like sitting here scrambling, trying to pull it together. And it's all working, you know, but it's like, you realize like even those sort of stressful situations. Oh, and I totaled my brand new car right after I lost my job. I was driving over to Vegas and I was sober. I just slept for 2.5 hours. We got to my buddy's house. I dropped him off and left and fell back asleep. And I was just like, you know, I was out there having fun, but I was working. I was doing comedy because I lost my job. I'm like, fuck it. I'm going to go to Vegas and see my friends and go watch the fights. And I watched Conor McGregor break his leg, which is not fun, but it is all fun to go to those fights. You know, I get to go to the fights because I've known Dana since I was 19. I've known Reed since I was 19. Jeff Nowitzki's a dear friend of mine. I got them to do a study with Johns Hopkins to take mushrooms. You know, like fucking UFC loves me. When Dana White said, when he blamed me for the study, he's like, you know, Ian's been trying to do this for years. And especially when he put a timetable on, people are like, you've been talking about a study with Johns Hopkins for 3 years? I'm like, yeah. They're like, fuck, dude, how long have you been like studying this? I'm like, dude, it's been a decade that I've been studying psychedelics. 5 years really intensely, you know, but I've been studying this sort of stuff my whole life. You know, I've always loved chemicals, you know, they're just how they interact with you.
And the support has to mean a ton, just, you know, between coming from the Zuffa days to the Dana White and everything. I mean, you don't find that in natural, or not natural, but, you know, everyday sports like the MLB, NBA, everything like that. You don't see the people that are 100% backing the natural medicines.
Yeah, the UFC cares about them. And I come from when they didn't care, when they were gangsters. Okay, and nothing against those dudes. I like them. They're friends of mine. But they, you know, they treated we were just a commodity, and that was the nature of the beast. That's the nature of a lot of this stuff. But with the new people in charge, I've sat with them on business calls about other companies. I was, you know, pitching to them, or we're trying to work deals on for sponsorships and such. You know, company I'm a part of, CBD company, like the UFC loves my product. And we were the first BSCG, GMP, and FDA certified lab and product in CBD. We're a licensed drug manufacturer. You look at me and all my friends, and we all look like stoners. You know, we're all like playing music and eating mushrooms all day and fucking around. And like, yeah, we're the guys that did it because we're creatives and we're artists and we get shit done. You know, like we literally sit in a circle upstairs in this loft we have in our production studio, green screen, and we have concerts there and stuff, and you know, comedy shows, and we just sit up there and just smoke a bunch of weed and just talk about the industry because they're all guys that come from cannabis. They're all trap guys, you know. But these are fucking guys are geniuses.
Yeah, and like just piggybacking off of what you're saying, you being so successful in your career, you surrounding yourself with the geniuses that you do, and all of you guys being about the natural plant medicines. Why do you think there's still such the hindrance of the stigma that's still lingering behind it? Do you think it has to be the abuse, right?
You can't abuse psychedelics. I
Mm,
mean, sorry, you can't, but physically they're not going to keep you addicted.
correct.
And when you're doing a bunch of psychedelics, most people don't want to do more psychedelics, or they want to microdose it, because if you overstep that line, then you're fucked up, and then your day's ruined. But if you can stay within the microdosing, people see the benefit of it, and they're like, this has changed my life. Whether they're young, I've had parents, a lot of parents in this area come to me and go, hey, like, you work in the space. I'm like, yeah, I'm just people I've grown up with my whole life. They're kids. And they're like, so my kid, uh, is my kid crazy? I'm like, why? Like, they like won't take the Adderall that's prescribed to them, and the other SSRI shit, because they're microdosing now, and they just wanted to tell me. And I was like, has your kid ever told you anything like that before? And they're like, no, my kid hides everything from me. I'm like, okay, well, let's analyze this. Is your kid happier? Yeah. Is your kid nicer and better to his loved ones, kid, their brothers and sisters, and you, and getting more done in school? And they're like, yeah. And they start naming off shit that happens, and I'm like, I go, okay, you need to understand, your kid is committing a felony every day, but it's through the pollination effect.
Mm.
Those older generations, even people our generation, are programmed that way, because our parents were way more programmed that way. The grandparents were, like, we've been lied to about everything, and we're like one of the first generations that gets to really open our eyes to it. And our kids are still going to teach us so much shit. We have to turn to them to be taught, because we're so programmed. They're not. We're stopping the programming of them and letting them live their own lives and learn their own everything. But they're going to, in turn, teach us a lot, and open our eyes to creative stuff, business stuff. Like, I love working with kids. Um, you know, it's the whole thing is really crazy, man. To be able to accomplish what we're doing, and with these kids, they're not just anyone can take these children. I have text messages from people at Johns Hopkins University that I'm like, hey, I have this pregnant woman asking me, or this parent whose kid is 5 years old and autistic and needs help, and they're giving him mushrooms at night. I didn't tell them to do this. They're asking me. What do I tell them? And this is the answer. The exact answer I gave was, well, there's no mechanism in the brain or the body that's negatively affected by psychedelics at any age. And while you're giving birth, native cultures do it. My girlfriend is going to be on a bunch of mushrooms when she gives birth. We both are, I'm sure, because it's good. You're proliferating good chemicals, good peptides in the brain-derived neurotrophic factor, glutamate. Glutamate is a precursor to NAD, nicotinocyde adenine dinucleotide. It's the thing that reverses the biological clock. It creates new neural pathways. Your kid's going to come out smarter and happier, more in touch with itself and the world. You're going to have this bond with this being even more. It's going to be like, tribes will put ayahuasca on the nipple as the baby first take sex, and while the mother's on ayahuasca. Like, this stuff's okay. Women, I tell them, look, do not take mushrooms in your second trimester, because you might get sick. That's it. You're just going to throw up, and you don't need that stress on your body. That's a lot of stress.
Mm.
But the first and third trimester, go for it. And yeah, you don't need to it's not about getting high on mushrooms. It's about microdosing the mushrooms and having that chemical in your body for a longer period of time.
Therapy.
Maybe the larger dose will come through at birth, or if you want to do it at any point. But that's like once, you know what I mean? And even that, don't stress yourself out too much. Don't go big or anything. Like, maybe it made it smaller. But with the microdosing, you're creating those good things. You're dropping the fear response. So the fear response, especially for a woman who's pregnant, is probably constantly in a fight or flight state. Or not even constantly, but a lot of women are. A lot of women are in the fight or flight state constantly anyways. I mean, dude, you go to a big city like LA where you have all these beautiful women running around. I look at my girlfriend. She's an actress. She's so hot. It's crazy. tall and beautiful and like just you look at it like, fuck. I'm like, wow, you like me? It's kind of cool. You know? And the things that happen to the women in cities like that, anywhere really, you know, men are fucking gross.
Yeah.
And it's like, it sucks because like, you know, as a protector, I look at myself as a protector. I want to, you know, like, and I'm also a savage. So I want to hurt people sometimes, you know, and I can't, I don't do that anymore. But like, it's, you know, giving those creatures the safety, giving everyone an opportunity. You know, I tell her with her 501c, she's going to bring actors and actresses and artists into safe spaces to heal. You know, that's who she's always been around her whole life. You know, being that growing up in West Hollywood and you know, Long Beach, very, you know, eccentric gay neighborhoods. My brother's gay, and she's, you know, just been in that. That's the arts culture. That's where it is. Mm-hmm. These people need a safe space to feel heard and understood, and they go through shit that fucking straight people don't, or artists go through. You know, they can all get tied in. I'm not saying that all gays are artists, or, you know what I'm saying, but like, whatever, whoever needs a place, a safe space to do it, you can do that. And I tell her, look, we're going to go into these psychedelic conferences. You're going to be a creature that sticks out like a sore thumb with all these, you know, a lot of nerdy people and venture capital people that are like, oh, they just want to do blow and fuck everything. And you're like, we got to navigate these people. But, you know, I'm there. Again, I'm there to protect her. Mm-hmm. I'm there to protect everybody. And, you know, just make sure everyone comes correct and say, look at, then now you have this amazing, you know, epidermal envelope that's filled with the same stuff everybody else has. How are you going to show people that the inside is what counts by attracting from the outside, you know, and making it tasteful and making it beautiful still and feminine or sexual or whatever the fuck whatever you feel, however you want to coach your thing. But through her trials and tribulations through life, she can then teach, doing what I'm teaching, she can teach the techniques she has to heal, that she healed herself with. And as she teaches that, as she learns them more, because she's still learning, obviously we all are, but she's, you know, she's like, right, the medicine ayahuasca is called her. She's about to go through that for the first time. But she's done high dose mushrooms a lot. But, you know, just these techniques that we have, the integration techniques, yoga, breath work, meditation, these are all things that you can then impart on your people and your words and their language. Yeah. You know, it's good.
So I'm curious, man, with your journey through your one illustrious career and two drugs, whether it be for the good or for the bad, do you think it's kind of created this perfect storm of a silver lining to where you can present this package, this nicely, you know, nice, neatly wrapped package, whether it be the McCall method or whether you're talking to the fighters when you're 501c? Do you think this has finally culminated in your life's work?
Yes, because oh yeah, this is my life's work. This is my mission. This is the great. My fighting was a fun, selfish thing that was fucking wild, and I did it. And it took a long time. It took 4 years to, well, I guess 30 years to finish. You know, and it didn't make me a good person. It didn't make me happy. I'm happy now about it because I got over some shit. But this is definitely my life's work. You know, I've got a client. Giorgio Gomez, top 40 in the world in surfing. His sister's Izzy Gomez. She just got nominated for the Double XL Big Wave Awards. Or she's probably the best female surfer in the world, or one of the top 3 or 5. She's a fucking tank. I say that that's not a good way to talk about a woman. I guess calling her a tank. She's a badass. She's a fucking athlete.
When you're referring to an athlete, a tank is a good thing. It's indestructible.
Yeah, right. And she's amazing. And Giorgio, we cured him of Asperger's with large dose mushrooms and then microdosing after. And he wants to start, he's starting a 501c as well. He'll be with me in Miami at the Wonderland convention on Monday. You know, number one, he looks like a Ken doll. He's a surfer. He's, you know, beautiful and he's jacked. And he's really nice and soft-spoken, but understands the medicine. I've been working with him for 2 years now. And I'm like, hey, now that this industry is starting, I need to position people in areas of the industry that I can trust and that I know I can hold accountable for their actions. I just know how good of people they are. So with him, I'm like, you're going to have a bunch of kids who look at you as a fucking hero who are on the spectrum, autistic or have Asperger's. And again, I've never been diagnosed. I'm on there somewhere, and that's fine. I've just been able to figure out how to use it for my benefit, because I coached kids my whole life with Asperger's and Down syndrome, to everything. I know that especially the kids who are autistic, they're better than the rest of us. They're just hyper focused and have too much stimuli. Like that, they're good. But with him, I'm like, cool. So this is what you're doing. I add this onto the McCall method. I work with a bunch of surfers. I talked to Kelly. We bought a castle in England. My buddies, I'm part of the deal. I'm trying to figure stuff out here for the thing. But Kelly Slater's, wanted to get involved. Like, these are all people I can reach out and touch because they're friends of mine. Now, Kelly and I will have like random conversations about stuff like at 5 a.m. because, fucking one of us is on mushrooms or something, and the other one's in a different country, and it's like, it's incredible to have this reach. Cain Velasquez is getting involved with me with the McCall method. And yeah, the McCall method itself, well, the 501c, the McCall method itself, I want him in there because that's going to be the coaching program that services the 501c, and that'll get paid. I've already said, someone already called me out on it. I'm like, hey, I'm not going to take any of the money. Well, how much of the money are you going to take? And I was like, thank you. Keep me honest. None of them. I'm sure it'll pay for some flights, at first for me to go with other people places and, pay for the retreats I'm at. But I get a lot of free shit too. So they might just give it to me. But there will come a time where like everyone keeps telling me, bro, you're going to be so rich. I'm like, cool. I know. Right. Not why I did it, but cool. It sounds fun. I grew up rich. I don't give a fuck. I have money. You know what I mean? Like it's just that I'm trying to impact as many people and help as many people as possible, and like my daughter, she's like, well, you're going to make a bunch more money. And she's like, I hear the phone calls. She's like, she's 9 and she's so smart. She's like, what are you going to do with it all? I was like, you want to give it away? She's like, yeah. Like, okay, then fuck it. It's going to you. You're in charge. You're already in charge when you're 9. So I tell you, kid, like, yeah, this is a lot of fun, man. This whole thing is fun. And if I can have legends like Cain at my side and Chuck at my side, and I mean, Chuck's like my older brother. Like that man, our children are a month apart. Like I see him going through his shit. I'm taking him somewhere soon. And by the way, I don't know if anyone saw the follow-up to Chuck going to jail for domestic violence, but it's not Chuck's fault. Chuck was attacked, and I know I've seen it myself, and I have to stick up for the guy because I'm not mad at anybody. I'm not mad at his wife or anything. It's just people acting out, and I'll heal both of them. Like you're the mother to my friend's kids. Like I love you. Let's just separate you two, and we'll figure it out. Everyone deserves a second chance or a third chance or a fourth chance. And
I'm glad you clarified that, because I know a lot of people have been wondering about that. But at the same token, I'm also an advocate that people's privacy and their own private life, it does have its own grounds. And I wasn't going to ask you about that, but I do appreciate you mentioning that. And it's awesome to know that Chuck's doing so well. So going forward with this, with Cain and Chuck and everybody, man, when can we expect to see one of the first trips into the jungle, the McCall method actually taking place, the 501c, it finally going down, it coming to fruition?
Yeah, it kickstarted today, and I got someone sent me $625 credit to Arcana, and Arcana is a place that I hold very dearly to my heart. Jose and the team over there are amazing healers, and they also create beautiful content. The Chambalate hacienda in the Mayan Yucatan, the oldest hacienda in the whole area, 600-year-old botanical garden. They can show you where the slaves were kept underground, the Mayan slaves. This place is amazing, and I'm part Native American from what I ran my genes, but my lineage goes down there. My family went from Spain to Mexico to Texas, and somewhere in between there's someone had a baby with a native. So I'm 10%, and I just feel so connected down there. You know what I mean? Like I was raised kind of as a Mexican kid here in Southern California, and I just connect with the area. I'm in Tulum a lot because one of my best friends lives down there, and he's a DJ. So we get to go down. I'm taking my family to Tulum in December. I love Mexico, you know. So hopefully I can if I can get some donations, some more, I'll probably need like, man, I'll need, if I can fit 20 fighters down there, probably 22 fighters in the space in Mexico. And 22 fighters, you know, I don't know how much, at least $2,500 for the retreat for each person, you know, and then you have how much, I don't know how much donation, we'll see. And then I got to figure out flights and how can I like it. But if I can get, you know, 20 to 22 fighters down there, whatever the number is, that's huge. That's massive. And it doesn't have to all be UFC people. I mean, sure, that would be great. But like, I want boxers. I want kickboxers. I've got Joe Schilling and Tiffany Van Sostas are 2 friends. You know, like, yeah, whoever, man. It's just let's go. Let me show these people that they can be safe. That I'll keep them safe. That's my job. I'm doing it to everybody else. Let me just show you that you're safe and you can open up and you can realize that you're damaged because you're a fighter. You all have brain damage. I'm going to hate to break it to you. All of you have brain damage. Floyd Mayweather has brain damage. And not just brain damage from fighting, but what happens is think about it this way. What happened? Why are you a fighter in the first place? Okay. Obviously some shit happened to you growing up. Who knows? There's only a few options, but we don't need to talk about it. Right. So this is, I always get to this comparison. I look at brain scans and things like that. So picture 2 brains. I've seen it. This one on the right is my brain. I'm an adult. I choose to fight and do drugs and party and hit my head on things and put myself in the coma. Snowboarding, got a lot of brain damage. That's me. Well, this one, you can see all the brain damage in the scan. This one looks exactly like this one, but that's a kid that was repeatedly raped. So, yeah. And when you think about that, you think, why are we judging people that are growing up to be crazy and slutty and addicted and that sort of stuff? You know, like, we have to start looking at people as broken children, because you don't need to have your head whacked to start acting crazy. And so what I have to do is I have to take these people down to wherever it is, even if we don't go to Mexico. If I do it here with Bearheart, my guy, he's got a spot up in Tahoe City, that area. I can take them up there, and this is another way to do it. When I go sit with him, we sit outside. They're smaller groups. We can do a bigger group, actually. I think we can handle it, bringing some coaches and some more shaman. He has a church that I'm a preacher for. And we sit in a circle. We sit around a campfire. No one has a tent. I mean, you can bring a tent if you want, but don't bring a tent. Don't be that guy. My girlfriend can bring a tent. Okay, she's an actress.
She's an actress. She's got to. Come on.
She's when you see her in the upkeep that those women have to do, she wants a tent. I'll give her a tent. I'm not going to sleep. Yeah. And plus, you know, during these journeys, there's no sex. There's no, her and I won't kiss, really. You know, we'll love each other, but like, this is very serious. This isn't fun. This isn't a good time. This isn't like, yeah, we're partying on ayahuasca. Like, no, dude, you're gonna go drink this mud water that tastes very different. Most people don't like it. I think it's delicious, but I'm also fucking weird.
There's craft beer lovers, and then there's the craft shroom lover, Mr. Ian McCall.
no. Ayahuasca is the vine.
Right.
Yeah. But yeah, same shit. You can take mushrooms in Bearheart too, and it's all legal because you're in the church. You're part of a church now. You have to sign in and have church paperwork that we have, and then you can legally do this in the U.S. And he's got 2 certifications federally. So we go and we sit and we go deep with our brethren, and we talk about it. There's no cell phones. You're out in the middle of the woods next to a river. Maybe we go river rafting the next day and go risk our lives a little bit and have a little fun. And people are like, what? I'm like, yeah. Like, dude, won't you want to be calm? I'm like, oh, as a savage, I need this. You know, like, you sit around and you just play music and you journal and you sit under the stars and howl at the moon and go out and go into the freezing cold water and pick up stones and throw them and act like a fucking animal, you know, like it's this primal thing that I love to do. That's me. I'm a savage, and I will never not be this person. Like there has to be people like me and my friends to protect everyone else, you know, and that's how it works. And my band of this is, we call it La Forza Sagrada, the sacred force. And it's a bunch of well-armed, well-trained, well-provisioned hippies like myself that are dangerous, that are well-trained, but you know, we know that if people come for us, people come for our children, or my farm in the desert, like we're well prepared. You know, we're not causing any ruckus, doing anything illegal. We're just people that want to heal and help other people heal. And the thing is, you know, 3-letter agencies and them, they know what I'm doing. I know they know. Let's put it that way. You know, I'm not stupid.
Right.
Like I'm a public figure in psychedelics. There's no way they wouldn't. I'm sure they're, you know, they have to just watch one thing I talk about. But everything is done with these certifications and with the housing of religion and you know, safety. It's harm prevention. There's no nonsense. You know, it's like it's about just giving people freedom. People want freedom right now, whether that's with their money, like crypto, or with their religious freedoms with psychedelics, or spiritual freedoms, or freedoms to, you know, be a sex worker. Like it's crazy. I had a conversation with these kids, my ex's son's friends. It was, you know, like early 20s, and I'm the elder around the little, you know, fire in the backyard, and you know, I'm smoking a joint or whatever, talking to these kids, and he's talking about being a sex worker. It's, you know, a gay guy from Long Beach, and how he's a boy toy and all this stuff. And I was like, huh. Like, as the adult, like I'm not like, okay, let's talk about this, you know, like, and I just started asking questions. And I was thinking, I was like, when I was a kid, like that's not a conversation that would happen. He'd be ostracized. He'd probably be ostracized for being gay, let alone being a gay sex worker. And I'm like, cool, bro, you good? Like, you know, like you having fun? Like, it's all that matters. Like you're happy. That's it. You know, just like, it's just funny how you know, the generations are changing, and we have to do a better job at keeping up the pace, because I think we're doing a good job as is. We are, you know.
I was going to say, this truly seems, and I can tell just the way you're talking about it and everything behind it, this is truly a selfless journey that you're on, that you truly just want to help other people, specifically, especially fighters, but athletes in itself. I mean, the world's first psychedelic integration coach for a reason. I mean, it's absolutely insane that you want to do this for people so selflessly. Why is that?
Because I was so selfish for so long, and I held on to it, and I was just not happy. And I finally got a little bit of happiness. You know, I remember the moments that have happened where a relationship, mine was pretty specifically, as I was going through my healing, was the ending of a relationship.
Mm-hmm.
And it was just gnarly, both addicted and just not good. Abusive, you know, to each other. Just, I was so angry. I was, you know, retiring, and my brain was all fucked up, and you know, I was going crazy because they were doing brain therapies. Like the UFC had me go through brain therapy that fucked me up even more. I was on the verge of killing myself for a long time, and I was in such a dark hole for so long. Once I got out of it and I realized like this situation's over, I turned around and I saw my life, and I was like, oh, wow, like this has been here the whole time. What the fuck? Wow. And I had healed my body physically from the fentanyl I was doing, the heroin or the opiates of any other sort, you know, it's Xanax and whatever, the pills, you know, the bane of our generation. And you know, you got to love all these situations and these people for the lessons you learn. And I was just so happy. I was kind of stuck on stupid. I was just like, you know, like microdosing 5 days a week at work. Just like, I got to heal my brain. I feel good. And I'm getting shit done. I'm learning how to like have a system to my method to my madness, which I never did. It was just, I go to the gym, you know, twice a day, maybe 3 times. I get cardio in, or it usually went gym, physical therapy, gym. That was my life. You know, that was it. And now it's about building everything else for myself and doing like fending for myself. I'm like, oh, what? I have to do what? Do laundry, and like I have to like do, like I have to write stuff down and take notes. And like, oh god, this is silly, you know. And I I reprogrammed myself starting with a smile. And that was just the start of the neurochemistry that rained down. And it went into more breath work and meditation and yoga. I studied Kundalini a lot, Stoicism, Buddhism, just spirituality as a whole. And then also, neurolinguistics programming. What are the stories you're telling yourself and other people? Where is your energetic output going? And if it's going in that direction, if you understand you want it to go that direction, what type of energy is it? It better be good energy. Otherwise, that's going to be all fucked up. You're going to ruin whatever you're doing. So put a good spin on it. Think of the best things you can. And all this stuff. I mean, there's just, I could go on and on. The food, the diet, there's the food and there's the diet, like the supplementation of things, getting the anti-inflammatory response down in your body. And then you can expand into microdosing. You can do all this stuff. You can get there, peptides. But the fact that I can give this to people, I can save their life. That's what matters. I can make people live a good life because I went through that many years of being miserable, and I didn't have to. I didn't. I mean, I did so I could be this person to do what I'm doing now, but I don't want other people to go through that. I want people to be able to navigate this space of life just in a little bit healthier way, because life's hard, and struggle's good. I'm not against struggle at all, but it's about being able to resolve the struggle after, post, go through that struggle and fucking crash your car when you're God, you're just tired and have to go through that. That was traumatic.
Yeah.
So, I have to do some healing for that, or even if with me, like specifically, I get invited to these conferences and have these VC people around me. Everyone's trying to buy me and get their hands on me, of my brain and my thoughts and my ideas, and just suck from me. And my ego, my ego gets in the way sometimes. And I like to go break that off. I just did it the other day, like a few weeks ago. I did a large dose of 15-gram dose of mushrooms with my shaman in San Diego. I did not have a good time. Oh my God. I've never blacked out before. I blacked out, and I guess I was so rude to a bunch of veterans, people that I work with veterans, with the Heroic Hearts Foundation. I work with veterans, walk and talk. I love veterans. Those are like some of my best friends. Whether they're the guys that are just people, they're just veterans that didn't even have some special forces, whatever, or the guys like Jericho Denman who are teaching all the celebrities how to act like veterans in movies, and they're doing Operation Pineapple Express and that sort of stuff. Like, I love veterans, and I was a fucking asshole to everybody. And of course, after, when we start doing the integration, you hit the peak and you come down, you start to talk, and they're like, fucking, I remember them grilling me with questions about, like, what are your fucking intentions? People keep doing that. What are your intentions? Like, what are you going to do? You're a little crazy. Like, what's going on here? We don't have to trust you. And I just, because it was my first shaman has made this church, and I hadn't been back there in 2 years. And wow, the progress he's made. He has a following of devout people to him that are all veterans. And I think they're all veterans. Most of them. That's the guys from Veterans Walk and Talk. And man, I was really impressed, and really, these guys have their shit together. And just to know that it's a free church in San Diego. If anybody's in San Diego and wants to go hit up a real shaman with a portal to another dimension, it's a little wonkish, a little teepee without a top kind of thing. And good people, good, honest people. Like, you can go there, and he won't charge you. Sure, you should bring offerings. They're natives. They like trading stuff. Bring some food, bring some fruit, bring, and just come in open. And then you get to trip, you get to go through the journey, and then you talk, you have your integration before and after, and then you sleep in the Wamkish on the reservation. And again, this is all legal. It's on the Indian reservation. You're in sovereign land at that point. And you get to learn. You get to learn the plight of the Indians. You get to learn a lot of things about yourself. You get to really feel the energy from someone who's native. They're different. They're not like us. And he's a great leader. He didn't even call himself a shaman. He's a spiritual leader.
Yeah.
spiritual healer, I guess. I don't even know what he calls himself anymore. He's on the board of directors for Decrim Nature. He deals with Dr. Bronner, you know, the soap guy. Like, he's a big deal. And you just have, I mean, it's free, dude. It's free. You can hit up Veterans Walk and Talk on Instagram. I don't know if Shane even has an Instagram right now. But it's a good one, man. I just did it, and I got what I needed. I got a kick in the face because my ego had gotten a little out of control. So yeah.
Very hypothetical question. All the knowledge that you have amassed now, do you wish that you've had it during your fighting career? But I guess the double-edged sword of that would be that you wouldn't be the man that you are now had you have had the knowledge then. It almost took you all of that discourse and the fighting to get to where you are now. So, I mean, a very hypothetical question, but your thoughts on it?
Man, I knew about microdosing at the end of my career, but I didn't do it for fighting. Which if I would have been microdosing the whole time, I would have been one of the best fighters of all time. I think I could have proven that with my athleticism and work ethic and technique. And I'm not the only one like that. Like, there's guys out there, you know, there's a larger number of us than you think that we had it all, we blew it. And yeah, if I could have had this knowledge and gone through, so that's the double-edged sword is, you know, would I want to be the greatest fighter of all time? And then not be looked at like John Jones. John Jones should not be looked at as a villain. John Jones should be looked at as a fucking hero. And I've hung out with John. I don't like John at all. At all. But do I want John to heal, to change this narrative and story about him? Fuck yeah. I really do. I've reached out. I've tried. You know, I have big name people trying to do some things like this, and it's like, I gotta hit them up. Shit. I forgot. But you know, it's like there's some big things, and so if I could be that guy, man, I guess, you know what? Yeah, because I would have a bigger impact than me being the person I am to, you know, because I don't know though. That's a good question. Because then the story wouldn't be as juicy and good. It'd be me being this like, guy that everyone's like, yeah, he's gonna vaporize whenever he fights, and he's gonna float off into the distance because he's fucking elevated, you know, just on a different level. You know, and especially if you're doing it with this grace and beauty. And you know me, I'm a smart ass, so I'd make it funny. I mean, I'm a stand-up comedian. As I got signed with a stand-up comedian agency.
Congratulations.
So thank you. I'm funnier than I thought, but it also I don't have time for comedy. These people are running my digital side of my life. They're going to be helping me put out all my educational content, my puppet show content, because I don't have time for comedy right now. I go to comedy. Oh shit, there's a show tonight I have to go to. I go to comedy because I want to go see my friends. I love fucking comedy, but I can't do it right now. So I'm going to go see my friends perform. And if they happen to call me up on stage, I talk every day for a living like this. So I'm pretty good. I can get up and talk some shit. And I don't mind going up and sucking. That's the best part, because there's no one up there trying to kick my ass in front of the entire world and take my lunch money. It's my friends watching me do comedy. And if I suck, then I suck, and I need to be reminded of that, because that's a good ego kick. I don't need to take psychedelics for an ego, you know, dump. It's good for me and it helps me speak. I mean, I have to get up on stage this weekend and talk about what I'm doing in front of, you know, people. I can't be nervous, so it's like, well, okay, that reminds me. I need to call the guy and ask him, can I get 10 minutes tonight, please?
Who are you going to see tonight?
I have no idea. I know we have backyard shows. So
okay.
We have our production studio at the Trap House Cannabis place, and then we have also a patio in a backyard in Huntington Beach, where people, you know, Orange County is the land of the free. It's where behind the orange curtain we can do whatever the fuck we want here. Apparently, where LA and San Diego are locked down and super liberal and fucking stupid. They just can't have any fun. LA's crazy right now, but Orange County is a bunch of well-armed rich people. They're not listening. They're all Trumpsters, and we were having parties on boats, and weddings, and we had like over 75 or 90 shows at both venues combined over COVID. We had 90 shows, and there was people weren't allowed to wear masks there. So people were like, oh yeah, how hard was COVID on you? I was like, I built my business being stuck at home, and then a few days a week I would go see my friends. I'd see all my best friends, and we'd hang out and take mushrooms and smoke weed and listen to our other friends play music or do comedy or whatever. It was fucking beautiful. It was such a good time for us to bond and grow as friends. Like we took full advantage of it. And we're lucky, of course, because not everyone, you can't do that sort of stuff in other places.
And the generational gap, like you were talking about in the beginning of the interview, and we'll start to close on it now, the generational gap between our grandparents to our parents to now our children, it's closing to the point where, I mean, cannabis is now looked at more as medicine than it is the stigma dragging behind it. Psychedelics is the same thing. What do you think the future is going to hold for natural drugs, natural plant medicines?
So just like cannabis happened, now I have buddies who have delivery services at senior citizen. Like there's big facilities here that have fucking 1,000 houses in them, you know, and these people buy a lot of pot, a lot. And you know, you got to think like those people are, you know, all the way down. I don't know what the age is, 55 or 65 or something. They're all high as shit, and their kids are now dealing with that, and they're smoking. And the microdosing thing is just going to happen. Like I said, with the pollination effect, if these kids are educating their parents about it, that's the pollination effect. If me as a celebrity, people don't listen to doctors or scientists. They don't. And because we've been so lied to, it's crazy and gross, but people will listen to a douchebag like me with a blue check mark. And you guys are just lucky. I take pride in what I talk about, and I want to educate everybody. But if I can reach out there and touch, which I can, it's my job, the biggest celebrities in the world that are talking about psychedelics, the Will Smiths, the Megan Foxes, people that are that big, you know, I can have them pollinate more. Will Smith looked great on the cover of Rolling Stones or whatever it was, talking about ayahuasca, but like, he needs to tell his story. Whether that's with me or not, he needs to tell that story and let me shoot that documentary. Let me tie that into a brand and give this message of pollinating that many people, because in turn, he's going to turn the eyes from him and go look at, like, unselfishly, like I do. He's going to go, don't pay attention to me. Pay attention to this healer. Pay attention to this shaman, or pay attention to this scientist. You know, my little sister in science is Melissa Dawn. She's the woman that started the first psilocybin clinic in the world. In Toronto, Jamaica, 5 ketamine clinics. Like she's a big deal. And a woman in science is hard. And if I can shine a light on someone like her, or my friend Matthew Johnson, he's the first professor of psychedelics ever in the world. He's at Johns Hopkins. If I can put them on a spotlight and on a thing for everybody, I can just hang out in the back and just fucking smoke a joint and not talk to anybody. Super happy. I talk too much anyways. I got so much to do. I have to make sure all this stuff is in place and make sure it's digestible and palatable for people, because not everyone wants to see me talk about it. You know, not everyone wants to see Will Smith talk about it. So I have to plug and play the right people in the right spaces and make sure that everyone's honest and open and integral. And you know, it's a good place to be, and they will. I mean, it's someone's going to do it if I don't, but I'm already in a position and I pride myself on it. So you know, I have to.
I mean, you should pride yourself on it. You're doing fantastic things for your fellow fighters, and I mean, all praise to you. So, for fighters that are interested in taking you up on those offers, and even the people that want to donate to you, how can they get in touch with Ian McCall, the McCall Method, to get into one of these journeys into healing?
So you can message me on Instagram, the McCall Method. Yeah, do it there. Do it at the McCall Method, or you can email me at ian@themccallmethod.com. And we can start. You know, people are already asking to donate. I just started a Kickstarter. I don't know how to put it on the internet. I'm not good with the sort of stuff. My monkey hands don't work very well. I just push buttons harder. My executive assistant she's going to help me with all this. But yeah, we'll be able to donate soon. And you know, it's donating not just money but time. You know, like I have got important people hitting me up to help me set up the 501c or to do this and to do that. And you know, I've already reached out to the people that I want to bring in first, the Dean Listers, and like I said, the Chuck and Kane and those sort of people. Rose Gracie, because she already works with the foundation. She already has her own foundation. She's healing. We all have our own lane, sort of thing. So yeah, just go on there, hit me up, and yeah, thank you very much.